Hello, everybody. Meteorologist Hutch Johnson joining you. Heading through the 4 o'clock hour, there's an Alberta clipper getting ready to clip through. We're going to look at the radar, show you where it's snowing right now, as things are really just getting started here in the valley. There is a shift in the pattern. If you saw my moments ago, I posted a reel on this, and yeah, there is a shift in the pattern where the heaviest snow from the clipper is going to make its way in by your Friday morning. Your forecast begins right now.
Now, a Hutch's weather update with Chief Meteorologist Hutch Johnson, brought to you by Robert Gibb and Sons.
Thanks for joining me. As always, I appreciate you. It's an interactive event here on Hutch's Weather. If you have questions, comments, even observations will help us confirm what we're seeing on the radar here as we head into our evening hours. Now, we do have some snow starting to show up not far from Fargo. We're going to check road conditions. We'll look at that forecast, and then we'll have a quick check-in on what we're seeing with regards to the big weekend system, some advice, some looks at what's changed and what stayed the same on the models here over the last bit. Now, let's get right to the radar. Here is what we're seeing, first and foremost, with the snowfall forecast. You might have seen this again on the reel as well. Kristen, good to have you on board. Thanks, Pamela. Good to see you as well. And I appreciate each and every one of you. Believe me, it comes from the heart when I say it's an honor to be your meteorologist. Now, you see the widespread area of blue here. This hasn't changed too much, but the band of heavier precipitation has shifted just on the south edge of this system. It does look like the best chance for the more significant snow from this storm will make its way along the South Dakota border. So if you're in Sioux County all the way through Emmons County and down towards Richland County along the South Dakota border, that's where we'll have that chance for 2 to 7 inches of snow. Not widespread 7, but a few pockets of some more intense snow. The winds, as you see, not too strong with this system, 5 to 15 miles per hour. And since it's drive time coming up here now, we're not anticipating too much in the way of problems. Let's get right to that radar, and I'll show you what we have going on right now. Let me know if you're hearing mic problems on this. I was noticing a little bit of a hitch in the giddy up, so please let me know if you're noticing any dropping out of the mic. I'm trying to watch that here on my monitor as well. Now, the radar shows some areas of blossoming snow around the capital city up towards Pierre and out over Lake Oahe right now. Here's that little band or streamer, if you will, right near the FM area. And then in northeast Montana, we have another blob drifting out of Glasgow and heading its way through. Lynn says the snowblower is sitting, awaiting by the door. Lynn, I did the same thing. I started it and I pulled so hard, I pulled the rope right off my snowblower. I hate when that happens. But that didn't ruin my day. I happened to have an electric start on my snowblower, so I got that baby fired up, let it run, made sure it was running good, and it's sitting there standing guard, hoping to ward off some of the snow, because for me, I don't want so much, but I do know the moisture is badly needed across much of the region. Elizabeth, good to see you. Hope things are going good. Clayton, thank you so much. Here we go. It's snow fun indeed. Oh, and how about Simon saying, I'm so pumped. I had to pump you up. Yeah, we're going to pump you up. No mic problems. Good to hear. I'm just trying something a little bit new. I don't know what's going on. It could be one of them wiring things. So here's that radar once again. Let's get right back to it. Now, I do want to go ahead and look at what we have going on. And again, this is where your reports come in so very handy when it comes to looking at the radar. What the radar is telling us is we have snow mainly south of Fargo, south of Horace, Barnesville, Pelican Rapids, Valley City, where we see the darker blues here. We're likely seeing a few flakes making their way down to the ground. So let's check it out. Let's see what we are seeing on the North Dakota DOT roadmap, and not a lot of intense problems showing up here. Now, we do see some areas here in the northwest quadrant of the state, Divide County, all the way up north of Williston, where they're showing some completely covered roads in yellow. Elsewhere, we have roads covered in blue. So not a lot of us will be going through good old Fortuna as we look out there, but we do have some snow on the side of the roads and icy roads reported. Apache Junction, Arizona. There's a snowbird joining Mary. So very good to have you on board. Laura, good to have you on board as well. I hope we get more than a foot. Some will. Sunday, Monday. More coming on that here in just a moment. Now, if you happen to be on the I-94 corridor through the capital city, the flakes are flying there. Now, the radar did show that there was some snow, but the heavier snow just south. So it is impacting and sticking on the grassy areas out there in the capital city. Keep that in mind. Getting out to the hill outside of Mandan on the west side of town, woo, that's mighty white looking there as we head into the evening hours. Now, south of town, let's go check out that Sioux County area, Flasher, Grant County. And this is covering the roads out there. There's a look at that as we have one pickup truck there hauling a little trailer, and things definitely showing a little icy on the road surface there. This heavier batch of snow that we see there just north of Fort Yates in the Sioux County area here that's causing some slippery roads will be heading our way through our southern counties this evening, and that's the way it looks. Now, here's Valley City. There's that band of snow showing up. Is it snowing there? This is at the Oriska Rest Stop. And we are seeing a reduced visibility, so likely some of the snow is beginning to saturate the lower atmosphere, and a few flakes could indeed be making their way down to the ground just off to the west of the FM area and not far from Valley City. Here's Castleton, by the way, as we sneak through that area. I don't see too many evident flakes, and in fact, the visibility is a little farther there, indicating some better travel conditions. So back to the radar we go. We've confirmed a little bit of snow. Anything coming to War Road? Marlis wants to know, not tonight, but for the weekend storm, it looks like it will be impactful. Let's get right back to the forecast here, shall we? Farah, Nathan Farah, thank you for joining. Flight out of Fargo on Saturday. Looking good. 5 a.m. Chicago, then DC. Saturday looks like just light snow to me. Let's get to your forecast. A lot of you want to know. Kim says, yes, please. Dilworth to Wahpeton this weekend, too, for dance. And the weekend will be tricky. And my saying right now is be where you want to be by noon on Sunday, and that's where things could be getting big. Hey, Sammy, thank you for your report saying huge flakes right now in Valley City currently. Good to know. They're about the size of Hutch's toes. So Hutch's toe-sized flakes falling from the sky right now. Katie, good to have you on. Dance, dance, dance. Okay. Snow forecast. Let's look at North Dakota first. Sharp cutoff here in our northern counties. Highway 2 and points north. Barely a dose at all. Yeah, under an inch. Now, where you see Hutch's yellow lines, that's the main event. It looks like most of western North Dakota will get some. We're seeing that on grassy areas. So 0 to 2 likely. 2 to 7 chance will be along the South Dakota border. That shifts south of the I-94 corridor. Now, here's what we can do is we'll zoom this up and move it into the valley, showing you that if you are in Britain, South Dakota, if you're in Sisseton, those hills will enhance some of the lift and snow in those areas. I think we'll have some pockets that, as I've said, up to 7 inches, not out of the question. But if you're in Oaks, if you're in Gwinner, it looks like a pretty good bet for that 2 to 5 range. Fargo could be in that 2 to 3 range here on this particular model, but some of them are continuing to sneak it down south. Let's look at the radar once again, and let me show you what my gut says, because sometimes we don't know where that heavier snow band is going to be until the flakes start flying the size of Hutch's toes. Here we go. Let's do real-time analysis. Doug, good to see you. Thanks for joining. Rick, thank you for your stars. All of your support is very appreciated. And thanks for the report, Elizabeth, saying no snow in Thief River Falls. That confirms what we're seeing on the radar. Looks quiet there. North of Interstate 94, it's quiet. Do you see this deeper blue band right now moving south of Bismarck? We do have some flakes in the capital city right now, but the heavier, darker blue band is where it's at. So if this is the band and it's moving due east, this is where Hutch thinks the greatest snowfall potential will be. The model seems to be pretty good. It's looking real good for the best significant snow potential right along the border. Now, we do have a little batch making its way through the FM area forming right now. So if we go back and look at the old Hutch forecast here, it's not looking too bad. 1 to 2 inches, maybe a little bit more in the Fargo area, in the Valley City area, in northern Stutzman County, maybe. And then as we get down toward the border, so if you are in places like Gwinner, Oaks, Ellendale, if you're looking off to the west of there, maybe even up towards Cullum, Lemoore County, and also, well, out towards Ashley and Wishick, those areas will have a better chance at seeing some greasy roads. This all falls by the morning. Hey, Johnny, thank you so very much for the a report out there. I hope I pronounced your name right. Go ahead and let me know if I didn't, because sometimes Hutch needs to know. If it isn't Smith or Jones, I can run into trouble. Now, if you're in Grand Forks and Points North, not a big deal. And there's a whole host of people that want to head out to the Minneapolis area because there's some big time hockey going on in the Twin Cities this weekend. And your team from North Dakota will be playing many other teams for some hardware, some hockey hardware. Now, this all falls as we go through, and by the mid-morning hours, it should be done in the Twin Cities. But notice that trail between Fargo and Minneapolis. Well, you're going to have a chance. Oh, boy, here we go. Simon says, go Gophers. I'm a Hawks fan, so we can agree to disagree, kind of. Yeah. All right. Now that we're about that, check it out. You're going to run through some snow. The snow is going to be starting. The most tricky time to travel will be overnight because it isn't even starting between Fargo and Minneapolis just yet. So drive tonight. By morning, there'll be a little bit of snow on the roads, but it shouldn't be insurmountable snow. Thanks, Allie, for the awesome support of stars. Abby says, lots of dancers heading to Wahpeton Friday through Sunday for hardware too. All right, here's the shake on the dance thing. Okay, I'm doing a little dance. Fargo down to Wahpeton. We get a dose of snow today, and that could be a couple of inches. Now, as you head into the weekend, Friday, quiet, beautiful travel. The only thing you have to worry about is the snow that's passing through tonight. That should be pretty insignificant. There could be a slippery spot. But on Sunday, you want to be where you're going to be by noon. Afternoon and evening, the way it looks right now, we could have some very difficult travel conditions, particularly in the Southern Valley. Hey, Elizabeth says, go UND, and Justin getting on board. Oh, man, thank you for tagging folks up there, and thank you for your trust in me. I'm going to do the very, very best that I can do. And one of the things I want to tell you is I'm going to tell you straight like it is. This is a model. You saw me in real time. Check out the radar to see if the forecast model is lining up with what's really happening now. It looks pretty good. I think this is a pretty good forecast. We've shifted the snow southward by, about 40 miles to 50 miles from where it was last night. So keep that in mind. State gymnastics in Jamestown, Friday through Sunday. Again, Sunday's snow will begin out west first. Let's get to that. There's a lot of questions. Here's the planning forecast so you can get on your road if you just want the fast forecast. Saturday, insignificant snow and chilly. Sunday, the main event begins in Fargo and in the southeast part of the state by midday at the latest, the way it looks right now on most models. The timing can change a little bit, but that's the way it looks now, and it's getting close. By tomorrow, it will be in and within the 48-hour period for the start of it, and then we'll have a better idea even yet. That said, Sunday afternoon, the wind begins gusting. It'll be out of the east for those of you in agriculture, and if you want to protect livestock out there, those east winds will cause that snow to blow and to drift. So the wind will be blowing from east to west. That will become more northerly on Monday, and the snow continues. The snow on Monday will be exiting western North Dakota. So for my viewers in Bismarck, for my viewers out there in northeast Montana, hi, family. Well, it looks like it's all going to be all but done for you. And if you're in Dickinson, if you're out in Bowman, if you're in Hettinger in western North Dakota, hi, family, and the capital city, hi, old friends. I'll tell you what, the snow there will be wrapping up as we go into Monday. It'll be an eastern North Dakota and Minnesota event as we go through the day on Monday. And boy, will it ever snow. And in fact, parts of Minnesota, the southern part, will have it changing from snow to rain. And we may hear thunder snow in places like Iowa and southern Minnesota. Woo-wee. All right. And somebody said this, call Jim Cantori up here. He might want to get up here and yee-haw in the thunder snow, because what's more fun than that? We get it up here in the Northern Plains, don't we? All the good stuff. Now, here's the beef. Where we have the 1 foot of snow, 8 inches of snow or more, the temperature is going to be below zero as we dive into Wednesday and even into Thursday for some. I put -1 on Fargo for Thursday. You know why? I think I can feel it. My elbow's cracking. And if we get more than 8 inches of snow, it's going to be tooth chipping, face slapping cold here in the valley. Let's get to the latest. I'm going to show you a model. Amanda says we have to be in Jamestown all day Sunday. Sunday, I cannot recommend people cancel anything. That's the toughest part of my job. I just want people to be safe, and I want to arm you with information to make good choices and decisions for you. The best advice I can give you, Amanda, is if you need to be there all day Sunday, have flexible travel plans for coming back. The toughest road conditions will likely be developing Sunday night and overnight into Monday from Jamestown into Fargo. Depending on where you're traveling from, where you're traveling to, keep flexible plans and make wise decisions based on the information that's coming out. Just like we saw the storm system that we have today take a big time shift of about 50 miles to the south, the same thing can happen with this particular system too. So that's why I don't want to make decisions for you or tell you what Hutch thinks you should do. The thing I would do would be to keep fluid travel plans. Be prepared for the potential for winter storm conditions at the very least. Some areas could see blizzard conditions, but the chances of that will be farther south. And by south, I mean southeast North Dakota into Minnesota. Let me show you. We'll look at that European model since we've been using that as a kind of a guide stick through this entire event. Sarah says flakes just started falling in Fargo, so that little band is falling in Fargo, and I'm looking in my yard. I can't help it. I'm going to make an observation. Excuse me. With me. Okay. I don't see any flakes yet outside my studios here at Hutch's Weather Headquarters. All right, from my studios. I don't see flakes yet, but they're starting. I believe you, Sarah. They're starting to hit. Okay, let's look at this forecast and let's talk about the European model. What's changed? What stayed the same? You know, it's kind of been fun doing this with you because you've gotten to see how these models can whiplash us and your neck gets sore. And probably if you're watching some people's extended forecast, your eyes and your brain get sore because it changes every stinking day. Hutch tries to not change the forecast every stinking day. I try to keep it pretty tight and only make a change if I see proof that it needs to be changed. And I don't see proof in changing the 7-day forecast each and every day. Why? Because the models will whiplash one way one day and the very next day they whiplash right back. Pick a forecast, stick to it. Make appropriate adjustments in a timely fashion. That's what Hutch does. Now let's get back to this forecast on the European Fancy Pants model. Here we go. Yeehaw. All right, now let's take a look at the European model. I'm going to point you to the clock bar there where it says valid Friday. This is Friday at about 1 a.m. in the morning. This is our Clipper exiting the area. And goodbye, Clipper. And it goes through the Twin Cities, and it looks like we have one frame where nothing's happening. We've erased everything. That's a hiccup in the model. Okay, now we're back in business. Stormy weather in the deep south with heavy rain and some strong thunderstorms, but they'll be off the Gulf Coast and in the Gulf of Mexico. Cold air here moving in, and then it's quiet. Here comes the main event. Look, it hasn't even made its way off the West Coast yet. And that's why there can be a lot of changes. Thank you so much, Jeanette, for your awesome support of stars. Thanks to all of you. Indira, thank you so very, very much for your support of stars. All of your stars are helping Hutch continue to pave the road, not in a literal sense, but pave the road for Hutch's future, Hutch's weather. All right. The storm system develops in the Rockies. Look where it starts forming. Wyoming. So kind of not really a Colorado low. There it dives down into Colorado, and boom, we have a Colorado low. The longer it sits here and spins and doesn't really move out of there, then we're going to have some seriously heavy snowfall from this system. If it were going to zip through here, it'd be kind of ordinary. We've recognized for several days this was not an ordinary storm system. So here's Sunday. Here's noon. You want me to zoom in now? I know a lot of you asked that last time. I'll zoom into our area. Let's do it. Go to the regional look. Let's boom, Shazam. Okay, now we're going to wait for it, and here we go. So as we head into the weekend, you want to be where you're going to be by Sunday morning. This is it. Noon on Sunday. Actually, this is 1 in the afternoon. So Jamestown, if you're out there dancing, gymnastics tournaments, if you're dancing in Wahpeton, Breckenridge, or if you're doing gymnastics in Jamestown, or you're doing hockey in Minneapolis, or you're doing hockey anywhere for that matter, it's going to be wild and woolly. Now, this isobar pattern here, these black lines show that they're really close together. That means that the pressure is changing. It's very high pressure up in Canada and very, very deep, strong, low pressure, a storm in the Central Plains, Kansas and Nebraska. That's going to force the wind to really blow. This wind will be easterly, and there'll be bands of heavy snow just moving in, according to this model, by around midday on your Sunday, a little earlier out to the west. Look how long it lasts. Midday Sunday. Mark that in your mind's eye. Basically, our whole region, except for our far northern counties, you'll be out of it. When it starts, then here it goes. Notice how it quickly exits the western Dakotas. I think the impact in places like Bismarck, Hettinger, all the way up to Williston and Minot will be minimal. You'll have some impact from today's event, and then you're going to get some more. But this does not look to be hugely impactful for much of western North Dakota. Look how short it's lived there. It does go through about a half a day or so. You're going to get some additional snow, and a few places could get 6 inches or more, the way it looks right now. Look at this main event. There's your thunder snow moving into places like Sioux City. Icing potential there in South Dakota. The I-29 corridor could be the bullseye. And it does look like it'll be south of Fargo with the heaviest of the precipitation where you see the dark blues. This is Sunday evening at about 7 o'clock at night. So Sunday, it's snowing heavy in places of the Southern Valley and some moderate bands of snow up north with ridiculous winds. The strongest winds will be in our southern counties. We'll have winds that will be very strong up north too, just not as strong. How long does it last? So we started noon Sunday. Here we are midnight Monday. Here we are Monday morning. Here we are Monday noon. This is 24 hours of snow, moderate to heavy in Fargo, in Breckenridge, Wahpeton, in Sisseton. And look at that, all the way down into central South Dakota, Watertown, Huron, and points south towards Sioux Falls, and then changes to rain. So we have all this heavy snow going on all day for the southern one half of Minnesota on Sunday into Monday, and then shazam, it switches to rain. What kind of a sloppy mess do you think that'll make for travel? This is Monday at noon. We're still getting wind. We're still getting snow potential from this system. And look at the path now. It's moving north. So it's taking the warm air and surging it all the way up towards International Falls. And the cold air back on the backside means our wind shifts to northerly for much of the day on Monday. So we're going to go through a transition on Monday from easterly wind to northerly wind, very cold temperatures, very heavy snow will be in the eastern Dakotas and much of southern, central, and now northern Minnesota, although northern Minnesota doesn't see things really get to rocking and rolling until the show is on. And the show is on, and it looks like it lasts with moderate snow for the better part of 24 hours there, too. You can kind of see in your mind's eye what the path of the heavy snow will be, and it's going to be wrapped up by Tuesday morning. Okay, notice the impacts across central and western North Dakota end as we head into Monday morning early. So it's a Sunday event. That's the timing. And it does look like a whack. Okay, now, here's a look at some of the snowfall models. I've got those pinned on a graphic for you. So let me get you over to that and I'll take a quick peek. Here's the snapshot of the European model. This is B, where you're going to be by around noon. We'll have dry air cutting in, keeping things quieter up north. Heavy snow and wind developing in the I-94, Highway 200 corridor and points south. And the low pressure system, because of where its track is going to be, will bring the strongest of the winds, where you see the red arrow here, and the heaviest of the snow in the southern part of North Dakota and in much of the southern one half of Minnesota for Sunday and into Monday morning. On Monday, it's an all-day event for the entire state of Minnesota, but some of Minnesota could have it change back over to rain. Is that clear? Are there any questions at all? Tagged and shared, Bonnie, thank you so very, very much. Tagging friends right here or using the @highlight tag will send a note to all of your friends to that you've highlighted this video for them. That's kind of a cool thing. Thanks for sharing that, by the way, Sarah. Greg says, what are your thoughts for Monday in Roseau snow-wise? Let me show you the snowfall forecast. So here we go. By Monday morning now here's the system on Tuesday. This is when it starts wrapping out of Fargo, and it will be the beginning of the end. So it snows Sunday noon, all day Monday, and into Tuesday noon or so. That's what the model looks like right now. It might be a little shorter than that, but that said, it's not going to snow heavy that entire time, but it could for a good part of the time. So the snowfall is going to be heaviest in the eastern Dakotas and in the south. So here's the European track. This is the one we've been looking at. Taryn says, oh, fly out of Bismarck and interstate should be good Tuesday. Or switch flights. You know what? The snow will be done by Monday mid-morning or so on Tuesday, and then it starts getting better out west, but we'll be dealing with it here in Fargo for a little while. I'll leave that up to you, but it does look like there could be some challenges road-wise here in the eastern third of the state for the better part of the day on Monday. Now, let's check out the snow track. Most impactful snow is inside the yellow lines that Hutch has drawn for you here. Notice western North Dakota picking up 5 to 8 inches, but this includes tonight's clipper moving through right now. So you can take a couple inches off of these totals and get a feel that the model says we might get 6 or more inches of snow. The European models, by the way, does not have an adjustable snowfall rate. This is basically a 10-to-1 snowfall ratio that I'm looking at here. Look at the heavier band of snow. Fargo is right on the, we're going to shave the line real quick here with us, and then a rapid ramp to 0 up in the northern part. So if you're north of Highway 2, this is not one of those that is going to allow you to get your snow machines out and start snowmobiling or snow blowing. But tune up your snow blowers in Fargo and Wahpeton and all the way down through Richland County, the Sisseton Hills, all the way down to Sioux Falls. And look at this. The Twin Cities have a chance at seeing this area here in the red. I don't want to take these numbers too literally right now. Remember, I've been talking about this. Global models have a large grid, and then they staple that large grid on the chance of bigger snow. More than likely, we'll see a more narrow band of heavy impacts. Not so huge like you're seeing here. But what I do feel fairly confident is we're going to see inside this yellow line, that I drew these lines with purpose. This is where I think the greatest chance of seeing 8 or more inches of snow will be. Not everybody's going to see 8 inches inside here, but there's going to be a reasonable chance at 8 or more inches of snow, which would be the criteria for winter storm type of conditions. Will there be blizzard conditions? Quite possibly. Will those be here? Hard to tell. Where will be the best chance? That'll be likely in here where we have the heavy bands of snow and closer to the low pressure system into South Dakota. Southern Valley, that's where we could have some pretty stout winds with the system as well. Thank you, Deborah. I appreciate your stars. How much snow in Bemidji? I'm right by this, and it's too early to give you a specific number. All I can say is the chances of 8 or more inches of snow inside the yellow lines, including Bemidji, Fergus Falls. Look at Brainerd Lakes area. Look at down here by Jackson and the I-90 corridor. It looks like a snow extravaganza, even into the Twin Cities, where there is a legit shot at a foot or more of snow for that area. That's just one model. Now we'll take you at a sneak peek at another one here and give you the idea. Look at, there's a little bit of difference here. The American model doesn't have it going straight north all the way up into Canada, so it keeps everything drier up north. That includes Red Lakes area all the way up into International Falls with just a couple of inches of snow. But the impactful snow track that has the best chance at some winter storm style snow of 8 or more inches of snow with a lot of wind goes from I-94 corridor and south. That is similar to the model we just showed you from the Europeans. And the amounts are fairly similar. And in fact, they're enhanced. Why? This model takes into account an adjustable snow to water rate. So what that means is it's showing higher amounts in southern Minnesota. Do I think it's going to snow 20 inches or more in these places? Let me put you or give you a little bit of a connection to what I think may happen. It's going to snow longer, and it's going to snow more intensely in eastern South Dakota, southeast North Dakota, and southern Minnesota than anywhere else with this, from the way it looks. And that's been advertised for the past few runs now. So the confidence is growing. Now, the confidence is pretty high that we're going to see some 18 or more inch totals because of the longevity of this event starting Sunday. And in some of these areas, it starts Sunday at noon, and it doesn't shut off the snow until we get to Wednesday morning or Tuesday night. That's a long-lived event. So a 3-day event with bands of heavy snow. And some of this, by the way, could be rain in southern Minnesota or snow underneath rain that replaces it. So there's some dynamics we have yet to iron out yet. And it's a little too early to say that this is what we're going to see. What I will say is that the probability of 18 or more inches of snow appears to be there. We could see a spot or two getting a good couple feet. Do you remember the storm system about 4 years ago? I believe it was in October, and I believe it was for you folks up in the Devil's Lake Basin. That system was advertised to bring 30 to 40 inches of snow like this, And a lot of guys and people are going, ain't going to happen. It happened. Okay, so because this is a slow-moving system, the potential is there for some very heavy snow. And with this dry year, it could really help us. This is a Canadian track. It's very similar to the European track. I-94 and point south. Huge snow amounts being advertised that are likely too broad, way too widespread. But what we can say is inside Hutch's yellow lines, we have a good chance at seeing some pretty nasty conditions. I'm not going to highlight everybody's snowfall totals on this. That's not the point of what Hutch's broadcast is about here. It's about taking a look at what the models are showing us, giving you a meteorologist's perspective on the impacts. So what are they? What are the impacts? Keep in mind, I'm going to have a YouTube video up there. I've already got a couple. You can go check those out. On the 7-day, I like to put what I call Hutch's bottom line on the bottom of that. And here's the thing. Tonight's clipper is generally a ½ inch to 2 inches for Fargo. And as you go farther south, the impacts will be a little greater along the South Dakota border, 3 to 7 in a few spots. Quiet most of Saturday with light insignificant snow, heavier snow on Sunday. The bottom line, there will be travel impacts. The travel impacts will impact Minneapolis's airport, Fargo's airport. Grand Forks could possibly be in the mix for some impacts, as well as Bismarck, Jamestown, and Sioux Falls, particularly Sioux Falls. Get out to Rapid City, they could see impacts as well. Denver may see fewer impacts. I have explanations as to why. There, most of the mountains will see snow. There'll be power outage risks. There's going to be risk to livestock for you ranchers out there. The wind, again, on Sunday will be easterly, and then on Monday we'll see a shift from east to northerly winds throughout the day. That's what you can prepare for there. Thanks for tagging your friends. Thanks for watching. If there's any other questions, and oftentimes I go back through here and I see there were a lot of questions. This was a long weathercast, a good half hour or so, right? So it gives you a real detailed analysis of what we're looking at for tonight's clipper. So be safe there. Apparently we got flakes. I'm looking out my window now. All I see is rabbits. There's rabbits out here. They might be multiplying. Okay. How about the fly out of Fargo early Tuesday morning? The storm should be exiting by that time. Hey, Simon, I'm glad you liked the lines that I put on my map. Thanks for your feedback. It's also feedback like this that helps me help you. Can I ask those of you still here another question? My question is this. When Hutch does draw maps or when I do put stuff together, what is the thing that you'd like to see more of? In other words, the lines help you see where the impacts might be greatest. I like to do that. Communicating weather information, scientific standpoint, can be a little bit difficult. I can oversimplify it and just put a simple 7-day planner up there and say, here you go, with a snowflake on it. That doesn't help anybody. If I can give you some context, if I can give you some of my best guesses, educated guesses as to where I think the impacted area will be, then I can allow you to make some decisions based on that. Hey, Tiffany, good to see you on here from Comstock. Thanks so very much to all of you for sharing stars. The numbers should be larger so you can see them. I'm working on that. Right now, I'm using content from a model that I can't change the size of these numbers, but I'm working on making my own graphics and just typing my own numbers on there. That could certainly be helpful too. I appreciate that. And in fact, with a day like this, instead of showing off numbers that I don't think that I buy at all, I could type up big ranges. And you know what? There's a meme that's going out there that I've seen the last several years that has a meteorologist forecast. It looks like this. And then it says on top of it, 0 to 72 inches. I don't know what to say, but that's the truth. This early, it's going to be somewhere between 0 and 35 inches of snow. I feel pretty confident of that. What do you think? Ooh, what's the timeline? Janice says. Tonight we have a clipper. It's out of here by mid-morning for most of us, including the Twin Cities. Some greasy roads here and there. Fargo sees a couple inches or so heavier snow along the South Dakota border. That's tonight's clipper. Saturday, nuisance flurries. Sunday, by noon, be where you want to be. The impacts start, wind and snow, heavy at times begin. That heavy snow will move out of western Dakota on Sunday and focus on the eastern Dakotas and it will intensify, and then it'll focus all day, Sunday afternoon and evening, all Monday, and exit sometime Tuesday. So there's going to be a prolonged snow event in the eastern Dakotas, central Minnesota, and then that should spread north into northern Minnesota. But one model is starting to say, it's going to stay south. I don't think we'll see anything north of Bemidji. So there's still some inconsistencies between the models. If all of the models had the same answer, we'd have a lot more confidence in what's going on here. Hi from Cullum, 2 inches of snow this afternoon. Wow, Justin, thank you for your report. I'm going to write that down, pass it along to my friends at the National Weather Service. They'll want to know that. 2 inches in Cullum, that's a big help. Thank you very much. That helps us see a little bit about what the radar is showing. And as we get back to where we started, that was the radar. And so as we zoom on into areas like, let's say Judd and areas south here, we got Wishick, Ashley, Napoleon. There's Cullum right there. So there's Justin, and he measured 2 inches there from the snow that's made its way through. And there's more to come. There's more moving along Highway 13 there, and particularly Cullum down towards Ashley and Ellendale has some more snow. So that 2 to 7 forecast, I think, for that area is right on the money. I do think you're going to have some pockets that see that. Make a good path for Pedro. I will make sure I take care of Pedro. He got a bath today, by the way. Thanks for tagging your friends. I do appreciate that. Oh, mark the date, says Ryan to Doug Kaufman. Finally, some snow. All right, that's not a bad deal. Everything you add to the maps will definitely help. Keep up the great work. Gene, thank you very much. So yeah, adding context, and I like to try to think of this as if I was forecasting for my family. And you guys are all my family, right? So I'm going to tell you what I think is important. I've been called a weather terrorist, and that's okay. That don't bother me. I'm not trying to terrorize anybody. It's snow. We've all been through snow here in North Dakota. If we've lived here any length of time, we've been through a number of blizzards, floods, tornadoes, you name it. But I feel it's my duty, and what I'd like to do is to arm you with information so you can make wise choices. And if the weather is nasty, you know what? You will want to know about it. So I'm going to try to pick out the days that are going to be the most impactful. I'm going to try to identify precisely what those impacts are, and we'll go from there. So Sunday, be where you want to be by noon. There could be impacts as we go from Sunday and Monday in particular, Sunday and Monday, of very strong winds, whiteout conditions, heavy snow at times. Yes, there is a potential for some areas to see blizzard-like conditions. Absolutely. The snow could exceed 18 inches in places, not everywhere. We could see some areas that rapidly see a decline to 0 inches of snow, aka what we showed you up north. So I like wise choices too, Vicki, and I hope you make them, and I hope I'm doing the best I can to help you. And I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you, Rita, for your comments, and thanks for your patience for my head always being in the way of your part of the state. You know what I'm talking about. I hear you. I'm trying to do more bobbing and weaving like boxing coach. Maybe I should get boxing coach. Watch airport by late Saturday, Sunday, no go anywhere. Leora says, yep. I can't predict whether your flight is going to go. I can't tell you whether it's going to be a good idea to drive from your dance competition on Sunday at a certain time until we get a little bit closer. And then, you know what? We have to rely on our experts out there. That would be the DOT, the National Weather Service. They're going to issue warnings and prompt timing and let you know when you need to know that roads are going to close. The DOT will let us know that. And they're going to work hard to keep you safe and on point. And our professionals that are first responders will be doing their job too, trying to keep everybody safe. You guys, thank you so very much. You are the great ones. Thanks for putting up with me. I appreciate all of your support and stars sharing the good word that Hutch is here on Facebook. Not everybody likes Facebook, so I'm working on avenues to get the message out there, but I could certainly use your help in passing the good word that Hutch is on. Here's that radar. I'm going to leave you with a look at that as our winter weather event for tonight is skirting along the South Dakota border. Places along and south of I-94 will have the best chance at seeing anywhere from 1 to 2 inches of snow. The heavier dark blue circles you see here, I'm going to add some annotations These darker blue bands here, anywhere in these areas, we'll have a chance at seeing maybe some 2-inch and up to 7-inch totals. So if you're in any of these communities, Dickey, Lamar County into southeast North Dakota, you could get a little bit more snowfall from tonight's little event. And that's a look at everybody's weather. I hope it's helped you out. That's kind of shaped like a kidney bean there. So we'll call that a kidney bean snow event here from our Alberta Clipper. It's beginning to start snipping right now. Thanks, Stephanie. Appreciate you all. Baxter, Minnesota checking in, and I'm checking out for everyone here at Hutch's Weather, including me, Pedro, and Leo the cat. We'll let you get back to your business. I will have an update for you. Check out my YouTube page here a little bit later. You can scan with your phone's camera right here behind me. If I can put that up magically. Nope, I can't. Let's put it up right here then. You can find me on my Facebook page. I love having your likes on my videos. Those help, and your subscriptions help in a big way as well. And it's another place that people can start getting some of my weather products there as well. Thanks.